philosophy that everything they produce is race ready. And they really tried to put that same philosophy into this ATV so that if the consumer buys it for cross-country racing, he really can take it to the track and race it as is. We spent endless hours all over the world testing this, many hours in North America, so that we would have the demands of the U.S. tracks. The shocks are truly tuned for not only comfort at an intermediate level, but adjustability and the performance for a high-level, pro-level rider that could actually take this to a GNCC race and perform well on it. Some of the things that first meet the eye are the Maxxis Razor tires and the Douglas production OE wheel. We actually had these wheels produced for us to a lighter, pretty much a lighter weight than any other production wheel that you could buy today. The whole overall package really shows our dedication to race ready. If you move into the front of the bike, immediately you see the all-lean suspension. Now, I can't tell you how many people ask me at shows that we're displaying the bike, is this what comes on the bike from the showroom? And this is the quality that comes on the bike from the showroom. You'll see triple rate springs. You'll even see a crossover adjustment system so you can fine-tune the actual small bump feel or the comfort. You can even dial in how much body roll the bike has by determining when this spring quits working and this spring starts working. We refer to this as a fully adjustable piggyback shock because we have our compression dampening, we have our rebound dampening, we have our crossover adjustment, and as you see here with this clip design, we have very quick ride height or spring pack preload adjustment. Between the weight of this shock, the quality of components of this shock, the race valving that's put into it, and all of the adjustability, this is a race-ready shock that I can promise you a consumer will not have to replace when he buys the bike. Now the rear has the PDS system. We'll talk about it just a bit later. If I could just take a moment and come into this area of the bike, I'm going to move right on through the chassis, try to cover everything from front to rear. I believe this is the first time that you're going to get OE performance of this level. This is the Magura brake system, and a lot of us need to actually get used to the name Magura on ATVs because it's coming and it's good quality parts. They have installed or designed a 4-piston per side brake caliper that's fixed, so we don't have any slide maintenance. It also comes on a very well-known floating disc brake rotor system that KTM's famous for on many of their model bikes. With all that in mind, we have probably the most powerful brake system ever introduced to sport ATVs. Also plumbed by the stainless steel lines all the way to the master cylinder. If you look at that package, it's truly a one-finger operation brake system. You can hold on with the other fingers and do all you ever need with one finger. Very good system. Just to tie that together, it comes up to a master cylinder here. If I could just bring you up here to this part of the bike. It brings you up to a master cylinder that has adjustable levers, breakaway tips, and look at this really lightweight parking brake system that uses the front brakes. You just simply depress the lever here and hold down a lock system, and the parking brake system's set. We don't have any unsprung weight from cables on the back of the swing arm. We don't have to worry about the cam assembly in the back caliper. This is very simple, very lightweight, and really I think it's indestructible. There's no components to break. Okay, that's the front brake system. This is always interesting to talk about. For the first time, we're using the highest level of chrome moly material on the A-arms, the frame, and the swing arm. Other manufacturers don't reach that level of quality. That makes everything very durable. The frame has been through hundreds of hours of testing, and we have no flexing or joint problems or paint, powder coat, if you will, cracking off. It's extremely durable with some design flex to help the chassis feel good. Moving on to the chrome moly A-arms, upper and lower. I'll tell you what, they designed the A-arms to the exact width that you need for GNCC performance. That's what this bike is. If you're going to look at this in whole, we're going to have Heim joints up here that are replaceable for service, plus they're adjustable to give the rider the caster and camber that he feels necessary. Very easy to put to standard setting. At the inner pivot point where it connects to the frame, they didn't put bushings that'll wear out. They put 2 drawn cup needle bearings at each connection with lip seals that can press in and out, serviceable again. The upper and lower ball joints, both of these components are replaceable on these A-arms by removing a circlip and lightly pressing them in and out. Fully serviceable, fully adjustable, and at the exact width they need to be for cross-country competition. I don't think you could get a better A-arm, probably saving the consumer $500 or more when he buys the bike. If we move through and look just a little closer here, we have high quality, high strength tie rod end assemblies on this. You can see the diameter and the quality of this aluminum tie rod. It ties into an extremely high quality, big diameter, incorporates a low center of gravity rotary steering stabilizer mount. I mean, literally between the frame bracket here and the built-in ear, if you will, and I don't know how close you might be able to see here, but the built-in ear on the steering stem, this is the mounting point, this is the connection to the steering stem, it's at the lowest point for center of gravity, and your rotary stabilizers bolt right in. We're going to incorporate an Öhlins steering stabilizer in our hard equipment catalog for the consumer. I'm thinking 5 minutes, that's it, and you have a steering stabilizer on your bike. Okay, the diameter of this lower bearing sets a new standard. Many quads in the past have had issues with the lower steering stem. It's kind of hard to actually see here, but if you actually get alongside one of these products, you'll find out that this bearing is really large capacity. It has good lip seals, and even the steering stem, due to its aluminum design, is a large diameter, which we've had no problems with, even when the quad was stressed under maybe a rollover in testing or some kind of condition where we would expect problems. Okay? Now, I could move right on through there quickly, but there's so much. The quality of the upright assembly, it was designed for reduced camber and reduced toe changes. But as we move up through, I'd like to talk about the fasteners a moment. Every fastener on this bike has hex drive and torque drive for the mechanic in mind. Also, on the back side of each fastener, kind of difficult to see maybe here on film, but they have built-in nut systems on every fastener on the bike, whether it's exhaust, radiator, control arms, shocks, engine mounts. You simply remove one fastener and you don't have to worry about holding washers and nuts or having a second tool. They not only built the bike in mind for high performance for the rider, they built it for quick service under race pit conditions. So well thought through all the way. And that's the kind of thing you would expect from KTM, ready to race products. Yeah, we can keep moving. It's so hard to do this quickly. I don't want to take much of your time. But as we come up through here, I almost have to stop and just talk about the quality of this curved or convex radiator. It really scoops a lot more air volume in, and it's protected by one of the best shrouds in the business. If you happen to look straight on at the bike, you can't even notice any radiator fins, which means mud coming at you from another bike in front is really going to be deflected, keeping the bike from overheating under the mud. It's proven to be work very well in all conditions. The shrouds, they stay in place, which gave us the option to design fenders that the consumer doesn't have to cut his OE plastic. He can simply go to a TT race or, if you will, a motocross race if he were to adapt this model to it, and remove this fender, leaving a really nice stylish wing here on the main fender, or the main body part, and detaching here and with these 3 bolts and put this in the truck and simply have open fender design in the front. A little bit more room for his knees, maybe to move around under certain kind of racing, whatever they wish. So, pretty nice, well-designed plastic system. Right here is what I consider the center hood of the bike, and it's held on by one fastener, which I'm going to demonstrate to you in just a little while when I show you how the plastic comes on and off. This hood removes accessing fuses, a reprogrammable CDI box that only requires you to remove a shorting bar to get a different ignition curve. You also have under here access to your headlamp, and you have access to a wire connector coordinator that lets you remove certain items from the bike for true competition racing without dissecting the engine or the main chassis harness. You simply disconnect them from this organizer and put the components in your box. I'll show you that just a bit later. The steering stem, it leads up to, maybe we're just a bit high here, but it leads up to a bolt-on steering handlebar mount. This mount is off-center, allowing the rider to remove this, spin it 180, and move his bars forward if he's a taller rider. You can also remove the handlebar clamp itself here. And if you turn that 180, it repositions the handlebars even further forward. It's a 4-position adjustable steering head design that's going to save the rider, again, a lot of money because he's only going to have one steering stem for different comfort settings. You can even add a 10 or 12 millimeter shim here underneath the handlebar clamp and the steering head mount, and that will allow the handlebars to raise higher for a taller rider. Okay? We'll talk a little bit about controls as I get further in, but moving back, you're going to see a very good clean frame design all through here, and you're going to find out that the only bottle that's sitting out in front of the engine this time is a coolant recovery bottle. That brings me to the point, where did the oil bottle go? There's no oil can